Okay, Unit 17 review. We are graphing. These are review. You need your slope and y-intercept for each one. You begin with B at 8, and then you're going to go down 5 over 2, and then connect that line. For the second equation, if it's not in y equals mx plus b form, you need to put it in that form. We have the slope of 3 over 1, and b is negative 3. So we begin at negative 3, and then we go, up 3 over 1. So it's always up or down first, and then we can see our point of intersection right there is 2 and then 3. Okay, we're going to skip the next one because it's pretty much similar. And then we're going to go to this one where we're going to solve with substitution. So substitution, you solve one for either x or y, and then plug it into the other one, hence the name substitution. So this one right here, if I add 2y to the other side, I get x equals 2y plus 11. So that's the one that I'm picking to put first. Again, we've talked about how you don't have to use this organization, but it's just helpful for our brains. So now I'm going to take that 2y plus 11 and put it in for the x variable. And then from here, I'm just going to simplify. So I'm going to do the distributive property. Then I'm going to combine like terms on each side. So you clean up the left. So that's going to be negative 16y. And then I'm going to get everything away from the y. So I'm going to isolate the variable. And then I'm going to divide out that negative 16, reverse that math right there, and I get y equals negative 4. And then once I have that, I'm going to take that and plug it in over on this side so that I can find the x. So then we get x is 3 and y is negative 4. So that's the substitution method. Now we're going to come up and do the elimination one. So that's 3a. Again, we're skipping the b's right now. So what you want to do with elimination is pick a variable to eliminate, either x or y. And in this case, I'm going to pick the y, because this is already 6, and then I can just multiply everything by negative 6. So I'm going to times this by negative 6, the whole equation. So be careful with your negatives. So we get 30x, because a negative times a negative, minus 6y plus positive 12. And then this one I'm just going to carry right over. I don't need to manipulate it at all. These cancel, 27x equals 0, and then divide by 27. And remember, it's okay to have 0 in the numerator. That just equals 0. And then I'm going to take that and plug it into either equation. So negative 5 times 0 plus y equals negative 2. Negative 5 times 0 is just 0, so then we end up just getting y equals negative 2. So then we have 0, negative 2. Okay, in this problem, Mary has in her purse 36 coins, all nickels and quarters. So nickels plus quarters equals 36. That's the quantity. And then the value of a nickel is 5 cents. The value of a quarter is 25 cents for a total of $3. So now we just got to pick a variable to eliminate. So I'm going to eliminate q. So I'm going to multiply that by negative 0.25 so that the q's will be opposites and therefore cancel out. And 36 times negative 0.25 is negative 9. This one's just going to carry over. The q's are eliminated. This is negative 0.20n. That's negative 6. Divide by negative 0.20. And then we get that n equals 30. So she has 30 nickels. And if we plug that in to the equation, that will let us know that she has 6 quarters. Okay, we're going to move on to this system of 3 equations and 3 variables. And so you need to pick a variable to eliminate. So this time I'm going to pick x. And so I'm going to start with those first 2 equations. In order for the x to cancel, this one right here needs to be negative 6. So I'm going to multiply the whole equation by 6. So that's each term. And then I'm going to combine those. So that eliminates that, and I get 19y plus 33z equals negative 114. And I'm just going to put a box around that, and I'm going to put it on hold for a minute because I'm going to come back to it in a minute. So now that I've used the first 2, I'm going to reuse the first one, and now I'm going to use this one. And in order to get these to be opposites right here, I need to multiply this bottom one by negative 2. So again, just copying that first one because I don't need to multiply it by anything. I actually only need to multiply that by positive 2, not negative 2, because it's already negative. So and then I'm going to get negative 3y minus z equals 18. And then from there, I'm going to take a look at both of these. And then now I have it down to a system of 2 equations instead of 3. And I'm going to multiply this one by 33 so that the z's will cancel out. And 18 times 33 is 594. So then I get negative 80y equals negative 480. Divide out that negative 80. Oops, it's not negative 480. It's just positive 480. And I get y equals negative 6. I'm going to take that and plug it into either one of these, but not both, unless you really want to do double the work. And then I'm just going to solve this equation for z. And I get negative z equals 0. So even if I divide out that negative 1, it's still going to be z equals 0. And then I'm going to take those 2 and pick one of these to plug it back into. So I'm just going to do the first one. So I get 6x plus 30 equals 6. 6x equals negative 24. X equals negative 4. So there's my coordinates, negative 4, negative 6, and 0. And that's it. Alrighty. So we're skipping number 6 and we're on 7. 7 is pretty straightforward. It's just asking you to list what number would be in that spot. So the first number is the row that you go to. So this is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. And this is column 1, column 2, column 3. So it says go to row 1 and column 3. So row 1, column 3 is 2. Row 4, column 1 is 0. And then row 3, column 3 is 3. now I'm going to tell you about the work that you're expected to show on the exam. So make sure you pay attention to this because you won't get all the points if you don't do it this way. So it's A minus E. So we're going to copy A. Minus E. And then my trick for subtraction has always been change it to addition, and then you just have to change all the signs of everything. And then 0 doesn't change signs. And then you can just combine them now through addition, and we get -3, 9, -13, 4, -8, and 12. So that's the work for that one. For this one, it's going to take a little bit more. You're going to put the 2 out in front of C, and that is going to be, you're just defending your answer and showing how you came up with it. Now, there's no rule that says you can't use the calculator to check it, but make sure you have this set up. This one, we're going to double everything. And then we're going to add it to that guy. To get our final matrix. And that's going to be -32, 20, 17, -8, -1, -12. And then you go to do E plus C. And right away you start to get right there. And you notice that when you're adding, they have to have the same dimensions. So then you just know this is not possible. And then -3 times A. Again, you're just setting it up and then doing the math, defending your work and your answer with work. Okay, next page, find the product if possible. So for finding the product, what we're going to do is we're going to see this is a 2 by 2 and this is a 2 by 2. Because the columns of the first one match the rows of the second one, they are able to multiply, and then our answer is a 2 by 2 matrix. So we just set that up. The first matrix, which is M in this case, goes here, N goes here. And I do want to know what numbers you're combining. So I would do it just like this. -5 times -2 is 10 plus, and then you have -5 times 3, which is -15. And then you can see that's -5. This one's going to be 15 plus -25, so that's -10. This is -2 plus 6, so that's 4. And this is -3 plus 10, which is 7. Next one. This is a 3 by 2. Nope, I lied. It's a 2 by 3. And this is a 3 by 2. So because these match, we can multiply them, and our answer is a 2 by 2. Okay, so we're going to multiply these. So we get -20. Again, just showing you where these are coming from. First number times first number second number times second number, and third number times third number. And then when we add all those up, we get negative 14. And there's that one. So like I said before, you're more than welcome to plug those matrices into the matrix app on the calculator to check your work, but that's once you're done. Okay, this one's a 3 by 4 and this one is a 3 by 2. Because these don't match, it's not possible. So again, the columns in the first one don't match the rows of the second one, so we can't do that. Next is to find the determinant. Whenever I do determinant, which I wasn't here for the lesson, but I made that video lesson, I always set it up like this, where I do parenthesis minus parenthesis, and then that's 18 minus 44, which is negative 26. Okay, for the 3 by 3, we got to copy the first two columns. And then it's going to be big parentheses. And then we're going to start with these columns just like we started before. And we get negative 9 plus negative 6 plus 0. And then we'll go the other way. And we get 9 plus 0 plus 0. So that's negative 15 minus 9, which is negative 24. Okay, moving on. Determine if they're inverses. To determine if they're inverses, this is the one where we have to do KL and LK. And what we're looking for is this identity matrix. So we're just multiplying them again. 1 times 0 is 0, plus 2 times 2 is 4, which is going to give me 4, and I need 1. So right away, these are not inverses. So let's go ahead and rename this one N. And what we're looking for is that MN, and then because order matters when multiplying matrices, we also have to do the reverse order. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1 plus 0, and that's 1 plus negative 1. That's 0 plus 0 and 0 plus 1. So my matrix comes out with the identity. And then we're just going to do the opposite direction. Now we're going to do the N one first. And we get 1 plus 0 and negative 1 plus 1. And 0 plus 0, and 0 plus 1. So these are, yes, they're inverses. And then for the last problems on this non-calculator portion, we're doing inverse matrices. So this one you're going to want to pay attention to because, yes, I know you can find it in your calculator, but you need to be able to do it by hand. So step 1 is to find the determinant. So we're going to do negative 3 minus 6, so that equals negative 9. And the inverse is 1 over the determinant and then you switch the place of the first diagonal, and then it's switch those and ops those. So you need to do the opposite sign. And then this is a scalar out in front. So now we're going to multiply that in. And then we're going to reduce those. So we get negative 1/3, negative 2/3, negative 1/9, and negative 1/9. And we could also check that in the calculator. For this one, we get negative 16 minus negative 18. That's a double negative, so that's just 2. So I switched the negative 2 and the 8, and then I just changed the sign. You're always only going to do one of those, not both. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. 9 over 2 won't reduce, but that'll also be negative 1. Alrighty, for this portion, we are going to use our calculator. So we are going to hit second matrix to pull up the matrix app, and I'm just going to go ahead and enter all of these in. So I scroll over to edit, and then the first matrix is going to be a 2 by 2, and then the numbers for that are going to be 2, 5, 1, and 0. And then you can kind of see that there. And then I'm going to go second matrix, and then now I'm going to scroll over to edit and put in matrix B. And that one is also a 2 by 2. And that's negative 1, 2, 4, 7. And then I'm going to go back into that matrix app, scroll over to edit, go to C, and then for C, we have a 3 by 2, and nope, a 2 by 3, and that's 4, 1, negative 2, 3, 0, negative 1. And same thing for matrix D. You gotta scroll over to edit to be able to enter it. And that is a 2 by 3 also. 5, negative 3, 7, negative 2, 1, and 6. And then I'm gonna get back to the home screen by hitting second mode. And then what I'm gonna do from there is I'm just gonna type these in. So go back to your matrix app. This time I am going to use the A one with names, minus, and then the number 3, and then second matrix, and then we're going to call B, and then we're just going to write that down. So with the calculator portion, you don't have to show any work. So 5, and then we'll scroll down to D, plus 4, C, okay, and then we're going to multiply A and B for number 3. So A times B. Remember, when you're not editing it, you just need to type it in. You just use names, and when you need to change the numbers, you use edit in the matrix app. And then now we have B times A. And we get to copy that down. And then this next one says the determinant of A. So to find that, we're going to go second matrix, and then we are going to scroll over to the math section and just pick option 1 for determinant. And then we're going to watch this really fun app on the calculator. It's okay. And then that's the determinant of A. So we need to call up A and then hit enter, and you can see that it's -5. Okay, inverse of B. So to find the inverse of B, we are going to go B, whoops. And then we're going to use the X to the -1 button, which is the matrix button without having to hit second. And then you're just going to hit math, enter, enter to convert all of those to fractions. All right, for these last 3 problems, you have to set them up and write exactly what I write. So we start with the matrix equation, or the matrix for the coefficients. Then we have the variable matrix, and then we have the constant matrix. So that's the first thing. Here's the second thing, where we label those matrices. And then the third thing is we need to solve for this x. So we're going to take the inverse of both sides. So x is going to equal the inverse of A times B. And so what we have to do is plug these matrices into our calculator and then be able to solve it. So I'm going to go back into the matrix app. I'm going to scroll over to edit. The first one is a 2 by 2. And then from there, we're just going to type over. So we have 1, 4, 2, and 5. And then we're going to go back in to edit. And this time we're going to enter edit matrix B. We're going to go up. This one's a 2 by 1. And it's 2 and -2. Go back to the home screen. And then matrix A. And then that inverse button, which is right below the math button. And then matrix B. And that'll do all that hard work for us, and we get -6, 2. The first number is x, the second number is y. So again, just make sure that you're setting up your matrix equation. So that looks like this. Then after that, you label it at ax equals b, and then you're going to take the inverse of A so that you can get the x by itself. These undo each other, and you get A inverse B. So we're going to go back into the matrix, scroll over to edit so we can change our 2 by 2 to be the new numbers, 2, 1, 1, -2. Go back into matrix B, scroll over to edit, and those are 7 and 6. And then second, quit to get to the home screen. And if you want, you can type in A inverse B, just highlight it, and now it has new matrices, so it will spit out a different answer. Or you can just go back into it, names the -1, which represents the inverse, and then go to B, and you'll get the same answer. So this one is for -1. And then for our last one, we have a 3 by 3, so you're going to have to set that up. So there's our coefficient matrix, our variable matrix. Now we have a z since it's 3. And this is ax equals b. Again, showing the work to isolate the x. And then we get x equals A inverse B. So now when we go into the calculator, we're going to edit, and then that's going to be a 3 by 3. So we will take care of that. So we're going to go up. We have 3 by 3, and then 4, -2, 3, 1. If you ever don't get the right answer for these, you probably plug something in wrong. So you would want to make sure that you double check your entries. Matrix B is now a 3 by 1. So I'm going to change that, and it is 1, -7, and 5. And so second mode to get back to the home screen, second matrix A, inverse, second matrix B, and then enter, and then we can see our solution to this one is -1, 2, and 3, and that's it.